Imagine for a moment that you know this boy. He could be your neighbor, someone in your own family. Maybe you could put yourself in his place. Imagine what it is like to be Bill Chapella, to be 21 years old and to have cerebral palsy, and think how important it would be to have a job, to feel some independence, to be able to work hard at something you can be proud of. Bill and thousands of young men and women like him today have a chance to learn, to contribute something useful, and to become part of a larger community through the help of United Cerebral Palsy. This is Santa Ana, California, a United Cerebral Palsy center typical of the hundreds of centers across the country. For the adults and children who are part of these programs, the UCP Center is school, job, and recreation. Try to imagine what it is like to live with cerebral palsy. To have a speech impediment which always gets in the way of what you want to express. To have legs that refuse to support you. Hands that make a difficult problem out of the simplest task. To have a physical handicap that hides the real person inside. Beverly Simpson has spent 21 years of her life in bed. She has never been to school, but she taught herself to read and write. For her, the UCP Center means a whole new life. After years of isolation, it is often hard to adjust to group activities. Working together on a common project makes it easier to forget shyness, and the newcomers learn to forget their embarrassment through involvement in their work. What goes on here has more than just psychological value. Behind it is a practical business motive. The decorations will be sold to stores, supply houses, and private organizations. Ruth Kotlar is director of the Work Activity Program here. She designs the displays and arranges their construction in steps that will provide a job for everyone. It is especially important that each person has a task he can perform independently. Hundreds of these decorative items are sold and rented every year. The income helps support the program and pays the cost of sending the group to summer camp. Instead of idleness, activity. Instead of dependence, responsibility. And in place of isolation, companionship and a true understanding.
Oh, yes. But see, with time...
Richard Rossman has had excellent therapy for a severe speech problem. But there's another kind of therapy, the kind offered by a friend like Dolores Whitman, the kind that comes from sharing of a common experience. Dolores has a special talent for helping people overcome their shyness. She knows that talking about a problem helps you to learn to accept it without self-pity.
Like, I noticed that you have tremors. How does this affect you, and how do you feel about this?
It affects me quite a bit, I'm sorry to say. When you're walking down the street and you see a group of people and you have to walk by them, no way to go around them, and you think to yourself, oh, I want to walk straight now. And
that's when the very time it gets hard.
This is when you fall apart.
Right.
That you're walking into walls and whatever.
Because what happens is you're concentrating on it too hard.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you're so afraid people will make fun.
Yes.
And this holds you back, gives you many second thoughts.
This more or less draws you...
Gradually, we are learning about cerebral palsy, what causes it, and what we can do about it. In every case, cerebral palsy results from abnormality in brain function. The specific causes are many. It may have been related to a premature birth, a chemical disorder of the blood, an illness early in pregnancy. Many causes have yet to be understood. But whatever the cause, children who are born with cerebral palsy or who develop it early in life can be helped. Of great significance is the new emphasis on early evaluation and pre-nursery learning. Even before the age of 2, a child with cerebral palsy can now be started on a program to aid critical development of sensory and motor skills, speech, and social responses. This is a pre-nursery program at UCLA. It gives handicapped children a chance to build normal social relationships. It also provides individual training and treatment. One of the many new treatment techniques is being used to help Tammy Roberts. With a soft motorized brush and a stick of ice, Tammy is being taught what most children learn automatically. Cerebral palsy can impair the function of the muscles which control the diaphragm. This often means that a child will not develop adequate use of the lungs without special help. The tickle of the brush is a stimulation that helps Tammy expel all the breath from her lungs. She reacts to the ice with a deeper intake of air. Proper breathing is necessary if Tammy is to develop normal control of speech. The support of United Cerebral Palsy helps to maintain programs like this one and to educate a wider audience of parents and professional workers to the possibilities of new teaching and treatment techniques.
And 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now let's turn you over.
What is learned in teaching Tammy may be applied in the teaching of many children with related handicaps. And Tammy, like the other children at the UCLA program, makes a contribution to the growing research in understanding causes of cerebral palsy and developing more effective treatment.
Look right at the cow. Look at his funny tail up there.
Conductors taped to Tammy's forehead and temples pick up a small electrical charge created by the movement of her eyes. Dr. Margaret Jones and her colleague, Dr. Glenn O. Dayton, Jr., are studying eye movement among CP children with help from a grant by United Cerebral Palsy.
That's a good one. That's a girl.
As Tammy follows the pictures on a moving panel, the tracking pattern of her eyes is recorded electronically. Deviations, otherwise unnoticeable, are preserved for future study and comparison. Erratic eye movement is characteristic of many children with cerebral palsy. This method of direct electrical recording of eye movement may aid in early diagnosis and suggest specific treatment and educational needs. What you see now is a small victory. Tammy is just learning how to use her arms to help propel herself forward. A normal child may learn to crawl at 6 or 8 months, usually with no instruction from anybody else. But for the child with cerebral palsy, basic motor skills, crawling, standing, walking, and maintaining balance can be insurmountable problems without proper help. Modern treatment techniques, like the exercises demonstrated on this giant ball, have offered new hope in teaching even severely involved children. By rolling the ball, Mrs. Johnson helps Tammy learn to deal with gravity. She is beginning to show progress in using her arms for balance.
Oh, you forgot you didn't put your head down. You forgot you didn't put your head down.
This kind of teaching makes tremendous demands on skill and patience. Progress is often very slow. Frequently, there are setbacks. Persistence and faith and the expert's knowledge of many techniques convince Mrs. Johnson that eventually Tammy will learn, if not with one method, perhaps with another. Maybe not tomorrow or the next day, but someday. This is part of what Tammy must learn, too. There is no easy way. There is no method to make a handicap just disappear, and there will be many failures before there is success.
When I was a child, I probably couldn't even get out a word straight.
When you have cerebral palsy, learning some things will always be an uphill struggle. How do you learn to accept the day-to-day failures and setbacks without becoming resigned to defeat?
I realized that it's a lot better for me since I've arrived at this center. But there are still times when I feel very much tied down that I cannot seem for the life of me to express myself and to express my feelings.
Yes, I can understand that. It's hard. I have felt times like that myself.
But what do you do when you want to express yourself and something comes out, and no matter how it comes out, you know it's going to come out the wrong way?
There just isn't too much you can do with it, but just try to live with it.
But don't you feel the frustration
Oh,
building?
oh yes,
at this point?
it's like a hurricane inside of you, and it feels like it's going to explode in a minute.
But like a hurricane, it blows over in time,
Right.
doesn't it?
Right, and then
Learning to survive the failures and frustrations and to keep on trying sometimes depends on having a friend who can truly understand what it is like. And sometimes it depends on forgetting yourself completely through involvement with others. Dolores often volunteers as a teacher's aide. Like many UCP centers, this one includes a developmental program for children whose educational handicaps are too severe for most public school programs. Learning to use the telephone is a practical skill, but even more important for Matt is learning to carry on a conversation.
Hello?
hello.
Hello, is this the zoo?
Yes, it is. May I help you?
Okay. I would like 2 giraffes. I guess that's all.
Oh, there's like other things. Wouldn't you like some monkeys?
Yeah.
Monkeys?
Yeah.
Okay, monkeys.
Volunteers who aid the regular staff help give each child in the developmental program a chance for individual attention. Each child has a learning and treatment program designed to give him help where he needs it most. But for all the children at the center, language development and communication within a group is stressed.
And does anybody know what this is? A battery. For goodness sake, battery. No. Yeah.
With the benefit of the developmental program, some children will eventually qualify for public school programs. Others may continue their learning here until they are old enough to join the work activities for adults. The United Cerebral Palsy centers are more than workshops or schools. In a very important sense, they are whole communities. They offer the dignity of useful work, the help of trained staff, and perhaps most important, the chance for a real social life. For some, the center offers the first hope for a life beyond the limits of their own families. Imagine what it is like for them. Maybe it is the first chance to help someone else, or the chance to be like other children, to go to school. A real job, a place to go every day, a reason to get up in the morning. Imagine what it is like for Susan. She is 21 years old. She cannot speak, and she will probably spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. But the spirit survives. She is warm and gay, and she loves her friends. Imagine what it means to her to have someone to help blow out the candles on her cake.